In 1895, a traveling salesman had an idea that would eventually be used by Amazon, Apple, Disney, Costco, HP, Nespresso, PlayStation, and nearly every subscription business on Earth. The idea was simple: give something away, then collect rent on it forever. He called it the loss leader. And in the next 12 minutes, I'm going to show you exactly how it works, case by case, number by number, so that the next time a company offers you something cheap, you'll know immediately what they're selling you that you haven't seen yet. This is the cold ledger, and the ledger is open. What is the loss leader? A loss leader is any product or service priced below its cost or given away entirely, with the deliberate intention of making money on something else. The product isn't the business. The product is the door. What's behind the door is the business. Every single company we're going to examine today understood this. Their competitors didn't. And that single difference between selling the product and owning what comes after it is why some of these companies became the most profitable institutions in human history, while their competitors went bankrupt doing things the normal way. 6 companies. 6 versions of the same strategy, each one more sophisticated than the last. Let's start at the beginning. Case 1. Gillette. It is 1895. King Camp Gillette is a traveling salesman with a problem. Every morning he shaves with a straight razor that costs $5, requires professional sharpening, and eventually wears out. He watches men line up at barbershops to pay for shaves they could theoretically do themselves if the equipment weren't so expensive and complicated. He has an idea. What if the razor was cheap? What if it was almost free? Not because he's generous, because he's an architect. Gillette designs a disposable safety razor with replaceable blades. The handle costs almost nothing to manufacture. The blade costs pennies. He prices the handle at a loss. He loses $5 on every razor he sells. His investors call him insane. Then World War I begins. The US government contracts Gillette to supply 3.5 million soldiers with razors. Every soldier receives a handle for free with their kit. The handles go out the door at a loss. Then the war ends, and 3.5 million men come home with a Gillette razor and no blades. Each man spends an average of $5 per year on replacement blades. For life. 3.5 million men, $5 per year. Every year. That is $17.5 million per year from a product Gillette gave away. By the time the patent expired, Gillette controlled 70% of the global razor market. The blade was never the product. The handle was never the product. The habit was the product. Today, the same model runs PlayStation. The console sold near cost. The games are the revenue. Nespresso. The machine sold near cost. The capsules at $1.20 each forever. Amazon Kindle. The device at cost. The books are the margin. Gillette invented it. Everyone else copied it. Case 2. HP printer. You have probably owned a printer that cost $60. You have probably also bought ink cartridges that cost $40 each, and at some point wondered how a replacement cartridge costs more than the original machine. This is not an accident. It is the Gillette model, applied to the office. HP sells entry-level printers at a loss, sometimes $30 to $40 below manufacturing cost. The printer is the razor handle. The ink cartridge is the blade. The profit margin on HP ink cartridges is over 60%. Every cartridge a customer buys generates more profit than HP made on the printer itself. And because HP engineers the cartridges with proprietary chips that reject third-party ink, the customer has no exit. Once you own the printer, you own the blade subscription. The Wall Street Journal documented this directly. HP and its competitors have, for decades, use the razor and blade model where hardware is sold at little or no profit. The ink is where the empire is built. HP's printing division, driven almost entirely by ink and toner, consistently operates at margins above 17%. Their laptop and PC division operates at 5%. The cheap thing you bought is the most expensive decision you made. Case 3. Costco. Walk into a Costco pharmacy and pick up a bottle of generic blood pressure medication. The price? $4. The same drug at CVS across the street? $29. Costco is losing approximately $25 on that transaction. Their finance team knows this. Their CEO knows this. Their board approved it. Because every person who drives to Costco for a $4 prescription walks through a warehouse first. They pass $2,000 televisions, $800 outdoor furniture sets, 12 packs of everything they didn't know they needed. The average pharmacy customer spends $136 in the warehouse before they ever reach the pharmacy counter. Costco loses $25 on the drug. They make $136 on everything else. Net gain per pharmacy visit, $111. But there is a second layer. To access that $4 drug, you need a Costco membership, $65 per year. Costco's membership revenue alone generates over $4 billion annually, at a near 100% profit margin, because the warehouses are already built and staffed. The drug is the door to the warehouse. The warehouse is the door to the membership. The membership is pure margin. 3 concentric loss leaders, each one unlocking the next. Case 4. Amazon Prime. In 2005, Jeff Bezos launched Amazon Prime at $79 per year. His finance team calculated immediately that Amazon was losing money on every single member. Shipping costs alone exceeded the annual fee. The board wanted to shut it down. Bezos said no. He told them they were measuring the wrong thing. Here is what they were missing. A regular Amazon customer spends $600 per year on the platform. An Amazon Prime member spends $1,400 per year. The $79 fee was not the product. It was the commitment device. Once a customer paid $79, one thought dominated every purchase decision for the next 12 months. I need to get my money's worth. They bought more. They compared prices less. They stopped going anywhere else. The shipping loss per member, $40 per year. The additional spending unlocked per member, $800 per year. Net gain per Prime member, $760 annually. Today, Amazon has over 200 million Prime members globally. 200 million multiplied by $760 equals $152 billion per year. From a product his board tried to cancel. The $79 fee was never the revenue. It was the lock. Case 5. Disney. A family of 4 walks through the gates of Disney World. They have paid $800 for tickets. They believe the expensive part is over. By the time they leave, they have spent $2,000. Disney's theme parks generate $32 billion in revenue per year. The gate ticket, the $800 the family paid before they entered, accounts for 30% of that number. The other 70%, $22 billion, is generated inside the walls. The $5 water bottle that feels cheap after paying $800. The $35 character dining experience. The $45 plush toy your child will not leave without. The $25 parking. None of these feel like significant purchases in isolation. But measured against the $800 already spent, they feel like nothing. This is the sunk cost architecture. Once you've committed $800 to an experience, your brain reframes every subsequent purchase. You didn't pay $800 to stand in line eating a sandwich from home. You paid $800 for a full day. So you spend. Walt Disney didn't invent the loss leader. but he was the first person to build physical walls around it. The ticket is the commitment. The walls are the warehouse. Everything inside is the blade. Case 6. Nespresso. In 1986, Nestlé launched the Nespresso machine. The machine was sold at near cost, sometimes below cost, during promotional periods. It made almost no margin. The capsule was the product. Each Nespresso capsule costs approximately 70 cents to manufacture. It retails at $1.20 or more. That is a margin of over 70% on every single cup of coffee a customer makes for the rest of their life. Today, Nespresso generates over $6 billion in annual revenue. Approximately 85% of that revenue comes from capsule sales, not machine sales. The machine that sits on your kitchen counter is not their product. It is their factory. Every morning when you open a capsule, you are operating Nestlé's production line inside your own home and paying them for the privilege. The machine was the door. Your kitchen is the warehouse. The capsule subscription is the blade. The pattern: 6 companies, 6 industries, 6 different decades. One system. The product that gets you in is never the product that makes them rich. Gillette's razor, HP's printer, Costco's pharmacy, Amazon's Prime membership, Disney's ticket, Nespresso's machine. Every single one of them was designed to do one thing: get you inside the walls. And once you're inside, the real transaction begins. Here is the cold truth about the world you live in. The free app is not free. Your data is the product. The cheap phone is not cheap. The App Store takes 30% of everything you ever buy. The free trial is not generosity. It is the first payment you make to yourself to justify all the payments that follow. Every time something costs less than it should, find the warehouse, because the warehouse is always there. The companies that built empires didn't compete on price. They competed on architecture. They designed the system so that by the time you realized you were inside it, you were already a subscriber. The question is never, what does this cost? The question is, what does this unlock? If you can answer that question before you walk through the door, you are no longer the consumer. You are the architect. The ledger is open. If you want to go deeper on any of these individual stories, every one of them has its own entry in the cold ledger. The Gillette story, the Costco pharmacy, Amazon Prime, Disney, all linked in the description below. And if this is your first time here, the Cold Ledger publishes 2 new entries every day. Each one dissects a documented business system, a psychological mechanism, or an economic principle that the 1% understand and the 99% are paying for. Subscribe. The next entry is already waiting.